So y'all, check this out. Who is that calling? Who is calling me? Okay, we ignore it. So I'm in the car, y'all. That was my car phone. Excuse that. So today I want to talk about the difference in a man who is weak and a man that is just having a weak moment. I remember a couple of years ago talking to my first lady or whatnot, and I remember like the time I was going through and the phase I was going through in my life, and it's like I just got sick of every time I looked up I was just running into weak men. You know what I'm saying? I feel like they just, I'm like, man, what's up with these weak men? And then here I go with my Bible, reading stories in the Bible, and then I also see, dang, shoot, ain't nobody safe. Before Christ, before BC, it's been weak men. You know what I mean? Like, that was just my mentality. I was like, man, like, it's just always weak men. Like, for example, it's a story in Genesis, Abraham, the father of all nations or whatnot. Have to look into it, but it's a point it's a story in the Bible, basically, when him and Sarah, I can't remember, so y'all can't quote me though, but just to give a little example, it was like something to the effect that Abraham acted as if his wife wasn't his wife. He acted as if it was his sister or something, because he was afraid that the king might kill him because she was so beautiful. He was afraid if he said that was his wife, that they would kill him for her. So he lied and acted as if the woman that was really his wife, Sarah, was not his wife but his sister. Not only that, I can remember a story in Judges 19, I want to say. It was a Levite man, and he had a concubine or whatnot. And in that story, the issue was him and this concubine, which a woman that's a concubine is somebody that's lower than your wife. Not your wife or anything like that. Just, it's like a low standard. It's almost like a side piece or a boo or whatever you want to call it, a mistress. But past that, over looking at the issue is that, okay, he had this woman, he was traveling or whatnot, and he stayed over this this man invited him into his home so he could stay overnight, because they was traveling, they was on the road or whatnot. So he welcomed them into his home. In the process of the man welcome him, I can't even talk with this in my mouth, y'all gotta excuse me. But in the process of the man welcoming him and his wife, not wife, his concubine, the woman, into his home, he had some unwanted guests. So the men of that particular area knocked on the door and was like, hey, we know you have a guest, so you need to send him out so we can have sex with him. Now, this is another group of men talking about this. And he was like, no, I have a virgin daughter and his concubine. How about y'all, I can't send him, but how about I give y'all them, his virgin daughter and the concubine. And the other man, the Levite man, was like, no, don't do such a foolish thing. So he just sent out his concubine, because he was saying, nah, don't send your virgin daughter, don't do that, so he just sent out the concubine. So when he sent her out, they abused her and raped her the entire night. So after that, when they finished doing what they wanted to do with her, they threw her back there in front of the door. So here she is, laid out in front of the door. So when the morning came and they opened the door, she was there. And the Levite man was like, come on, we gotta go. And he got no response. So basically they killed her. She was dead. So he was so angry that he put her on a donkey, and once he got stable, he cut up her limbs. He cut her up in several pieces, 12 to be exact. Cut her up and laid her out throughout what was it that he laid her out at? I can't remember, but anyway, he laid out the pieces because he was so mad. He wanted them to know what they had done to her. So I'm like, man, like I was, having this discussion. I was feeling some type of way, and I was like, man, like, look at this. This is what I'm talking about. I always, it's always weak men. You know what I mean? Like, to me, that was like crazy. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like that was a weak man. You know what I mean? Like, even with the Abraham thing, and then just life itself, you feel like, man, these men around here, like, it's like, what's wrong with y'all? You know what I'm talking about? But my first lady was telling me, she was like, Alice, never confuse a weak man with a weak moment. And I was like, man, that's the realest thing I ever heard. And I was like, you right, you so right. You know what I mean? After I kind of digested and processed it, because I was like, man, she right, everybody have weak moments. You know what I mean? So you got to know the difference between a man that's weak and a man that have weak moments or whatnot. So I just say that to say this, that don't get confused by a man that's weak versus a man that have weak moments. And it goes back to, it's the little things, you feel like, your idea of what a man's supposed to be that kind of help to kind of offset how you view them or how you feel. You know what I mean? Just because, for instance, a man could be so sweet and so affectionate, and you just love him for that, and you be like, oh my God, like, he is so sweet, he is so sensitive, he is, all that to you. Or vice versa, the woman, you know what I mean? But on the flip side, when it come to other people, you like, man, I wish he'd toughen up. You know what I mean? So it's like a double-edged sword. You know what I mean? Like, it's like, it's like the same thing you love a person for, you can end up hating them for. You be like, man, what is a person's weakness is really a strength. You know what I'm saying? So it's really about how you see things and how you process things and how you are willing to digest things. You know what I mean? You gotta sometimes just take you out of it. It's very important to take you out of it, because we all have weak moments, in life, when we don't think clearly. We do things without thinking, and later on, we be like, man, I could have handled it different. But it's not always for you to point it out, man or woman. It's not always for you to point out when a person had a weakness or when a person is being weak. You know what I mean? So, especially it's a touchy topic, because certain things are very you got to be very careful when you're dealing with them, because you can, I don't care what nobody say, men are more sensitive than what you think or whatnot. So you have to be very careful how you talk to that man or how you treat that man, because it might go another way. You mean things in a good way, baby, this and that and that, and it can go a whole nother way if you're not careful. They can take it another way. You know, so you have to be very careful when you deal with their weaknesses, you know, because it would shut them down, or it will pull them away if you're not careful with how you deal with the things that you think that are weak. You know, the things that you would have done differently, the things that you think he should do differently. You know what I mean? So it's just, again, you know, you have to put yourself to the side and you be like, man, you know, like they have to come to that. You know, they have to come to their conclusion. You don't have to tell them they're weak. You know, I'm pretty sure they kind of feel, they know, you know, they know, you know, some things you know that they know. You know what I mean? And that's one of them things, like, you know, you don't want to say nothing too quick when it comes to their weaknesses, because you will shut them down. And you will never be able to communicate on a such intimate level with them if you scold them for their weaknesses. You know, the ones, their flaws. You know, we all have them. So you just have to learn to give people due process, especially if you want people to give you due process, because we all have weak moments. It's plenty of things that I would do that other people won't do, you know. But at the flip side, you know, I do understand that my emotional IQ is higher than most, you know. And not only that, I'm a woman, so you know, women are emotional creatures for the most part. But on the flip side, you can't exclude men, because men are emotional too. Like, they just show it in a different way. And like I said earlier, I will almost put my life on it that men are more sensitive than women. They just show it in a different way. So you have to really be careful, because it's so much weight on them. You know, they always have to have the answers. You know what I mean? As a head of the house, society has taught them that they have to be strong, you know, so you can't criticize them for having a weak moment or two. You know, you just have to help them get past whatever they're dealing with. And I'm pretty sure that on the other side of that, they'll have better days than they do, you know, stronger days than they do weak. You know, so just stay encouraged or whatnot, because everything is not what they may seem. So I hope y'all enjoyed this, and I hope it helped. So if you have any questions, you can just write it in the comment, or you can email me at alice.postel90@gmail.com. Y'all be sweet.